and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing the journals that I will be using for 2024. It's pretty comprehensive. I actually do have a lot of creative journals that are not reflected here, but these are the ones that I'd like to get into for some of them, at least on a monthly basis, sometimes a little bit more. And then for this one, this is actually going to be my everyday carry. So you may want to get a snack or a drink, put me up in the background as you work on any of your hobbies, as this will be actually a very chatty video. All right, so let me get some organization going on and I'll be right back. All right, so I have talked about this one before. I actually have a video and I'll go ahead and link that in the cards sometime during this video. And this is an A6 Moterm zipper cover. If it's still available, I'll go ahead and link any of the things below in the description box, and they will be Amazon affiliate links. If you choose to click on the link because you're interested in one of these items, I do earn a small commission, but it does not change the price for you. I am required to disclose all that information, but now the commercial is over. So it's zippered. And what I have in here is a little A6 Hobonichi notebook, just a few stickers, and then this is a half-year A6 Stology, just because I've used Stology before and the paper to me is very similar to Hobonichi paper. I'm not 100% I have to have Hobonichi, so if anything, I know I can rely on Stology because it gives me kind of some of the same things. Now this is my tarot journal. And this I use periodically through the month. It's not something I'm in regularly. I do want to avoid using too many stickers or washi or whatnot, and it's more so because I don't want this to bulk up, because then I'm afraid it won't be able to zipper. And so I come in here throughout the month, sometimes every weekend, sometimes just once a month, and I pull various cards and I just do some reflection. I do use my tarot hobby as a way as like a journaling, reflection, self-reflection type of thing. And it really actually has been very beneficial to me to kind of clear out some thoughts or just make me think about something in a little bit different mindset. And so as you can see, I just come in here periodically. I do like to do a bit of just random stamping so that there is some decor on the page. But again, there's not going to be a ton of washi or stickers in here because of the bulk. Now this is my daily tarot journal. This I keep with my everyday carry. And this one, when I pull a card, I just write down what the meaning of the card is. And as I'm writing that down, then I actually will think about how that pertains to me. And again, I have found it very helpful as sort of like a self-reflection. It's not even so much a journaling prompt because I'm very rarely writing about what I'm reading from a personal perspective. It's just more giving me something to think about while I'm writing down what the card means. Now, as I get more familiar with the cards and whatnot, that might change in the future, but I have really been enjoying this process. And so these are two journals that I will be using going into 2024. If you follow me in my coloring book hobby, this will be familiar too. This is my A5 Maisie Lane dot grid journal. Maisie Lane Co. no longer makes dot grid journals, but any dot grid journal, or honestly any notebook, would do. And this is what I have been using for my coloring book journal. It actually started out as sort of a reference journal, which it had a lot of different items in there, but as I started using it, I realized that this system doesn't really work for me, because at the time I didn't actually have a lot of different things that I was tracking, and then as my hobbies kind of exploded, being able to track all of that just became too cumbersome. So eventually I just turned this into a coloring book journal, because there are tons of pages. This is what I've done thus far for 2023, and I will be closing that out in here. And then probably somewhere back here, then I'll go ahead and do just some simple spreads for 2024. And I'm just going to continue in here since there are a ton of pages still remaining. And just having done a full year of my coloring book journal in here, a lot of these things are actually going to make an appearance again. And then some of these things won't, just because, again, having a year under my belt doing this sort of journal, it gives me an idea of what works and what doesn't. So this you'll definitely see on a monthly basis as I continue with my coloring book hobby. Now this one here, if you watched my Hobonichi unboxing for 2024, like a month ago, this is an A5 Hobonichi one-piece cover. This is Luffy. He is a captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, and I do have a cover on cover. I do like to keep my items pristine. And then in here, I actually have two different notebooks. I do have a A5 Day Free for 2024, and then I also have a cousin Avec, which is two notebooks that are half year a piece. And I actually plan to keep both of these in here. I also planned to do some setups in both of these. But the way that I am approaching them is a little different. So for this Day Free Teisho, which is a bunch of notes pages with just a year plus of monthly pages, this is actually going to be an anime journal for me. I have really been enjoying anime for quite some time now, and I just want to have a place where I can come in and do some journaling based on different shows that I like, but also based on different characters that I like. And so I will be doing a little bit of a setup on here with you guys in the next coming weeks. And then for this Avec, I plan on turning it into a word journal. Now, this is a system my brother gave me for 2023, I think like in September or October, and I've been using this as a place for me to just play around with setups, and I have a video on this. I'll go ahead and link this as well. And I really enjoyed this process where I was just looking up words, their meaning, and just kind of doing a little bit of thought about those different words. There was no rhyme or reason, and I really liked how that looked. I also enjoyed this, where I was looking up words, but in different languages. For instance, here was Chinese and here was Elvish, and I might actually do that in the monthly section in here. So it's not something I plan to come into on a daily basis. I'd like to come in here at least once a month and just play. So this is definitely going to last me for some time. And the way in my head that I'm thinking about doing it as of now, I would do the weekly the same as I showed you, is I would just choose a random word, look up the definition, think about that word, and then put a quote that I find. And then back in the daily page, then do a corresponding either Korean version, Elvish, Chinese, just something different, and then just do a little bit of journaling in here. I do want to have this and approach both of these journals in sort of a decorative scrapbook kind of way. So I do know it will eventually chunk up, but these aren't something that I will be in too frequently. So while it will chunk up eventually, it's not something that's going to chunk up really quickly, because I think I might be in both of these maybe once or twice a month, but they are something that I do want to get regular use of for 2024. So again, anime journal, and this will be a word journal. And this is out of my A5 Hobonichi system, and that's definitely something I'm looking forward to using. And again, for both of those, I will be doing setup videos separately in the upcoming weeks. This is a A5 ring-bound journal. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I don't generally go for these because I have learned over time that I do like a book-bound system. But this is going to be my 2024. Actually, it's going to be a continuation of my book journal. I will do a separate video on that as well. And what I found for 2024 is, based on the volume of what I was reading, the book-bound system really wasn't working for me. I did order a bunch of these trackers from PK Planning. I'll go ahead and link their Etsy shop below. And I have found this the perfect vehicle for me, because mostly what I want from my book journal is just to track the books that I have read, and I have read an insane amount of books. And having the ability to just add in pages, I think, is going to be the best way for me to kind of approach this particular hobby. And then I'll have different sections back here for Patreon and buddy reads and things like that. So it's definitely a work in progress. And again, I will have a separate video on how this sort of evolved this way and what I was using prior to. This is a Moterm cover. I got this from Amazon. And again, if it is available still on Amazon, I will go link it below. Even if it's not in the same color, at least I'll get you to the page that has all the various different covers. Now, I actually like this kind of system because it has so many pockets in it. But to be perfectly honest, other than doing probably some light deco in these slots right here, I don't actually plan to do a lot in here, just because this never leaves the house. But this is something I'd like to get into more frequently than I did for 2023. I think that's part of my problem, is it's gotten to the point where it just seems so cumbersome and unwieldy, because there's just so much to data entry in here. But this is going to be my book journal for 2024. And then the final thing is my everyday carry. This is a Hobonichi Weeks. This is in the One Piece January Start English edition. Again, I will be doing setup in a separate video. It'll be a little bit less setup than I did last year, although if I'm honest, I didn't do a ton of setup. And more than likely, I will be doing most of the setup, if not all, off camera, and then I'll just do a flip through with you guys, because I've learned that doing setup videos and trying to talk through the process just doesn't really work for me. And I don't do voiceovers just because then I feel I need to script, and then it just becomes much too long of a process for me. And so this is something I will continue. This is going to warehouse the things that it does now. This would actually be the third year that I'm going to be using a Hobonichi Weeks as my everyday carry. The weekly section will be focused on work things, like it generally has been. I do have some things I'll put in the notes section, as it has been. And then for the monthly section, I'm not exactly sure what I'll be tracking there, but I never really track things there anyway. Really what I've been focusing on is the weekly setup and then the notes pages in the back. So again, I'll be doing some setup with you guys so that we can go and get ready for 2024. Actually, I don't think this video was as long as I thought it would be, just because I'm just really introducing or reintroducing some things to you guys and just putting it out there in the universe, what I plan to be using on hopefully a fairly regular basis, just so that I can get some use out of the things that I've really been enjoying. But just be on the lookout in the upcoming weeks in December, and perhaps in the beginning of January, of setup videos and just a little bit more discussion on the various systems that I plan to use. All right, guys, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.